Well, hey everybody, welcome to our Facebook Live. Today we're going to have a really amazing time with Anastasia and Roman from Father's House. They've run an amazing organization over many years in Ukraine, working with orphans and the vulnerable. So we're going to hear some of their story, what they have done, how they started, then evacuating kids out, where they're at now, what they need help with, and just kind of hear some of their story, some of the cool God stories, but also some of the difficulties and how we can pray. So you guys, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
Why don't you introduce yourselves real quick?
Представте себе коротко, якщо можете.
Мене звати Роман, мені 55 років, і я є керівником «Отчого дому». Це благодійна організація, яка служить дітям, сиротам, безпритульним дітям в Україні.
My name is Roman. I am 55 years old, and I am the head of a charity organization called Father's House, and its main focus is orphans and homeless children in the past. And my name is Anastasia. I am 32 years old, and this is my father, and I am honored to serve right with him and next to him all these years, ever since I was a little girl. So
that's beautiful. I love that. I love that. I bring my son along all the time too, because it's like that's my dream. Everybody serving together. So give me a quick overview, the short version of how did all this come to be in the first place?
Коротко, можете мені в двох словах розповісти, як взагалі почалося це служіння?
Все почалося з того, що моя сім'я була готова до розлучення, але Бог врятував мою доньку від того, щоб вона не залишилася без тата. І я захотів чимось віддячити Богу за те, що він на руїнах сім'ї відродив, створив прекрасну, одну з самих щасливих сімей на світі.
Well, it all started with my family, my marriage being on the verge of divorce. And God intervened and he saved my family, he saved my marriage, and he prevented my child, my daughter, to be growing up without a father. And so I had this great desire in my heart to thank the Lord somehow with my life for what he has done for me, for using the ruins of a marriage and turning it into one of the most happiest families on the planet.
І коли я запитав Бога, Боже, чим я тебе можу віддячити, він мені показав безпритульних дітей в Україні, і 25 років тому назад все розпочалося.
And so when I asked the Lord, how can I thank you? Is there a way I can possibly show gratitude for what you've done for me? He started showing me the homeless children that were many at that time in Ukraine. And so that's when it all started happening 25 years ago on the streets of Ukraine.
І я був лікарем.
I was a doctor.
Я ніколи не міг би собі уявити, що я покину свою професію.
And I don't think I could have ever imagined leaving my profession behind.
І зв'яжуся з безпритульними дітьми.
And I don't think I could have ever imagined working with orphans, with homeless children.
Але Бог влив в моє серце Духом Святим любов до цих дітей.
But with the Holy Spirit, God has poured love into my heart towards these children.
І я йому вдячний, що він вибрав саме мене.
And I am grateful to him that he chose me.
Щоб я міг служити його дітям.
So that I could serve his children.
That's amazing. That's so awesome. And I know you just started, from what I know, you started just taking kids into your apartment. Is that right?
І наскільки я правильно розумію, то ти почав з того, що просто запрошував дітей до своєї квартири, до своєї домівки.
Ну, не зовсім так. Спочатку я ходив до них.
So first I started going to them. I was
Вони мене
meeting them.
перші стали запрошувати в свої підвали.
They were the ones inviting me to their homes, their basements, place of living.
І будучи людиною культурною, я вимушений був їх запрошувати до себе.
So I wanted to be polite and I wanted to invite them, to my house as well.
Це я жартую.
But I'm joking about that. It's not about politeness.
Я просто бачив, що вони потребують того, щоб їх помити, полікувати і просто забирати їх
звідти. I could see the
звідти.
need that they had to be washed, to take a bath, to be dressed in new clothes, clean clothes, and they needed that care and attention, even though it was basic, but that's what they needed.
І вони в нас і ночували.
And so they would spend the night at my
Особливо
house.
в мене серце обливалось кров'ю, коли вони приходили на руках чесотка, в голові гуляють воші, а вони беруть Настіні іграшки, і голова до голови буці гуляється з Настею. І в мене уява, як всі полчища перебираються з їхньої голови на її голову.
Well, especially when they would spend the night and play with my children and my daughter, and my heart was just was clenching, or I don't know if that's the right word in English, but when I would see those children who had different diseases, skin diseases on their hands, and they had lice in their head, and they had other diseases that were contagious, and then they would play with my daughter's toys, and then they would bump heads with my daughter, and then it looked nice, but I was really nervous about the consequences.
Як ці всі воші переходять.
And I could see those lies jumping from head to head. I could just imagine it.
І в мене було тільки одне – це віра в те, що Бог пообіцяв, якщо вип'єте смертоносного яду, вам не пошкодить. Я молився, Господи, ні одна вож не перелізе, а якщо й перелізе, то зразу й здохне там в цій голові.
And I was standing firm on the promise that God made in His Word, saying that even if you drink from the cup with poison, it will not harm you. And so I was praying so hard. I was like, even if there's a lice that jumps from one head to another, I just pray to God that it dies immediately.
І ні одна не перелізе.
And my children were never sick with anything.
That's amazing. That's crazy. That's awesome. And you had, at one point, you had a bunch of kids living in the house with you, right? When it was just your apartment.
Скільки одночасно проживало дітей з вами в вашій квартирі?
У нас двокімнатна квартира
So we
була,
had a 2-bedroom apartment,
і в ній жило у нас
which means in Ukraine, 2-bedroom apartment doesn't mean 2 bedrooms. It means a bedroom and like a living room, but it's 2 rooms, so it's called a 2-bedroom.
10 дітей.
So we had 10 children all together living with our family, with the 4 of us.
У нас діти спали навіть на кухні.
And we had children sleeping in the kitchen as well.
Goodness. So from there, how did it adapt to, the facility that I came to in Kiev? We just met in September, I believe, for the first time. And, you guys have a massive facility. You have coffee shops and all kinds of stuff. So kind of quick, how did you get from there to there? And what are you doing now?
Швиденько розповісти, як ви з цього, з квартири двокімнатної з 10 дітьми, вийшло служіння, як воно все переросло в ту прекрасну будівлю, яку я відвідав в вересні, ми познайомилися, і там у вас і кав'ярня є, і магазинчик, і 2 великі будівлі, і багато дітей.
З самого початку я розповів своїм друзям те, чим я займаюся, і сказав, що моєї квартири недостатньо для того, щоб забирати інших дітей з вулиці.
So I was sharing with some of my friends that I made that this is the ministry that I'm starting and this is what I'm doing, but I just don't have enough resources, I don't have enough space to accommodate all these children that need all my help and my love and my attention.
І друзі запропонували, що давай знімемо ще одну квартиру.
So my friends suggested, well, let's rent out an apartment, a second apartment.
І ми зняли теж
And
двокімнатну
so we
квартиру.
rented another 2-bedroom apartment.
І в цій двокімнатній квартирі поселили 17
And
дітей, 18
we had
дітей.
18 children in that second 2-bedroom apartment.
В одній кімнаті на 3-ярусному ліжку спало 15 хлопців.
In one bedroom, we had 3-story bunk beds, and we had скільки хлопчиків? 15 boys in that one bedroom.
А в другій
And then
кімнаті
the second
3
bedroom,
дівчаток.
we had 3 girls.
Потім на цю квартиру була поліція, бо вони шукали одного хлопчика, який був
And
у
then we
нас.
had a police that broke into our place because they were looking for one boy that was wanted by the juvenile police. And
І цей хлопчик їм
And
сказав,
that boy-
так ми вже до вас в понеділок самі збиралися
boy
йти.
told
Я хотів
him-
вам розказати все,
told the
що
police officer, well, I was going to
Я
turn
наробив.
myself in on Monday, but they broke in on a Saturday morning. But he said I was going to go and turn myself in on Monday anyways.
І відбулося чудо, коли на суді офіцер, який арештував цього хлопчика, просив суддю другий раз віддати на поруки цього хлопчика і не засуджувати його.
And it was a true miracle that during the court meeting, the police officer that arrested the boy was pleading to the judge to let the boy go for community service instead of being imprisoned. And it was just, it was amazing how the heart of the police officer turned because he saw how the life has changed.
І він взяв потім нас за руку і завів цей поліцейський до мера і сказав: я хочу вам показати людей, які справді міняють дітей.
And he took me by the hand, he took us by the hands, and he took us to the mayor of the city of Kyiv, and he said, these are the people that change children's lives, and I want to introduce you to them.
І після цього мер Києва нам виділив частину дитячого садочку.
After that, the mayor of the city, he offered us to accommodate the children in a kindergarten facility, which was a big, much bigger facility.
І ми ж туди прийняли аж 37
And we
дітей.
were able to accommodate 37 children there.
Але і це було мало.
But that was not enough either.
І ми молилися, щоб Бог
so we
розширив
were
наші межі.
Praying to God so that he could help us extend our possibilities.
І ми захотіли купити один будинок окремо.
And we wanted to buy, our dream was to buy a separate building.
І навіть ми вже знайшли цей
And
будинок,
we even found the building that we wanted to buy.
але не мали жодної
But we
копійки.
had no money.
Я торгувався
for the
з
purchase.
власниками,
And I was
щоб
bargaining
збити ціну,
with the owners for them to take the price down.
а в кишені не було жодної
But I
копійки.
had no money in my pocket.
Але Бог був такий добрий,
But
що
God was so
за 3
good.
дні поста й молитви
In
мене
3
більше нічого не
days
залишалося.
Of praying and fasting, because that's all I had left.
Бог знайшов людей в Норвегії, яких я навіть не просив, але самі подзвонили і сказали: у нас, в наших друзів померла мама, і вона залишила ось таку суму грошей. Чи не хочете ви купити якийсь будиночок для себе? І назвали рівно ту ж саму суму, яку ми 3 дні назад сторгувалися.
And so there was a price that the owner was ready to sell the house for. And of course, we didn't have that money. But after the 3 days of praying and fasting, a friend of ours from Norway that had recently visited Ukraine and she knew about the ministry, she gave us a call. We weren't even reaching out for help. But this lady from Norway gave us a call, and she said, well, guys, there's this lady from our church, and she said that her mother had passed away, but she left it in her will to use this amount of money towards charity, and we thought that maybe you could use this to buy a house of your own. And she names the exact amount of money for which the owner of the house was ready to help to sell the house for.
За яку ми 3 дні назад тільки домовлялися.
And it was only 3 days ago that the price was named.
I love that. God is amazing. That is so awesome. Oh my goodness.
God.
That is so cool. And if you guys are watching, man, like this, share this video, because this is such a cool story to get out. If you have questions for Anastasia and Roman, put them in the comments and we can answer them later. I'm going to talk about one more thing with you guys, and then I want to talk about evacuating the kids and what that's been since then. But I'm interested a little bit more in, you were going to be a doctor and then you switched to this. I mean, as a doctor, in the world standards, you would have made probably a lot more money, but yet you chose to give that up to pursue impacting kids that have nobody to help them. What would you say to others for who are maybe debating the world's vision versus what God would have? What would you say in that regard for people?
Ми далі зараз будемо вже говорити про евакуацію, але перед цим я хотів би звернути увагу для глядачів, щоб ти трішки більш, можливо, дав якусь пораду. Ти сказав, що ти був лікарем, і по світовим стандартам, мабуть, якби ти залишався в цій сфері працювати, ти розвивався б, і ти, мабуть, заробляв би набагато більше грошей. Тим не менше, ти вибрав покликання Бога, і ти пішов, і ти посвятив своє життя, щоб допомагати дітям, кому, можливо, ніхто більше не допоміг. Що б ти, можливо, міг сказати людям, які десь вагаються між тим, що їм світ пропонує, і якоюсь успішністю, і тим, до чого Бог прикликає?
Не стільки гроші. Я мав мрію, і все йшло до того, щоб в 30 років стати наймолодшим професором в нашому медичному університеті.
It was not so much for me even about making a lot of money in the industry, in the medical industry, but for me it was a dream because I had a goal, and my goal was to become in 30 years old, or when I was 30 years old, I wanted to become the youngest doctor in our medical
Професор
the youngest professor in the medical
University.
university that yeah.
Але на сьогоднішній день я більш щасливий, тому що я служу Богові, а не просто маю якийсь науковий ступінь.
But as of today, I am so happy, and I think I am much more happier than I could have been by making maybe, reaching my earthly goals or having some achievements in the medical
З
field.
роками те, що цінне в людей, проходить, але залишається цінним те, що є найціннішим у вічності. Тому в погляді вічності я просто вас підбадьорюю, робіть те, що не знеціниться в небесах.
Because what is valued in the worldly life, it wears out throughout the years, but whatever is eternal, and that's what you dedicate your life to when you dedicate your life to Jesus and what he wants you to do, that's eternal, and that's what you're going to take with you into eternity. And so I encourage you to really discover what that is and follow the values that will have no time limit.
That's great. Yeah, we have a saying too with our ministry. We always say we're not all called to adopt, but we're all called to orphan care.
В нашому служінні є така фраза, ми девіз такий, що ми не всі прикликані усиновлювати, але ми всі прикликані допомагати тим, хто сирів.
Yes, and it is like when you help these kids, giving up what you could on your earthly ways to help these kids who have nobody else to really help them. It's just beautiful, and it's just, it's something, you get a joy and a peace that you could have never imagined. Oh no. Goodness. Goodness.
Excuse me.
That's okay. You guys have a lot of kids there, which is probably a good time to transition. And how are you there? Where in the heck are you? And how did all that happen? Give you from the beginning of the war, you guys were out pretty quick, but share what that was like for you. What happened originally?
Де ви зараз, як ви сюди взагалі, там де ви є, як ви сюди добралися? Я знаю, що ви дуже рано на початку війни виїхали. Як взагалі це все відбувалося?
Взагалі це Боже чудо, тому що
It is God's miracle.
Чисто по-людськи я готувався до евакуації ще за місяць до війни. Хоча я не вірив, що буде війна.
Even though I did not believe that the war is going to actually begin, I was doing all the precautions and I was preparing for the war to begin a month before it actually started.
І в той день, коли почалася війна,
and on the day the war broke out,
всі мої плани зламалися.
All my plans were broken and canceled.
Ті, хто обіцяли дати мені автобуси, вони відмовилися.
Those who promised to provide buses for evacuation, they all backed up.
Одна дрібничка і все, що було приготовлено, воно рушило.
One little detail, and everything else that was built on top of it was just fell down.
І я сидів і казав, Господи,
sitting and praying,
я не знаю, що
crying
робити.
out to God, saying, I don't know what to do.
Діти в бомбосховищі.
The children are in the bomb-proof shelter.
Взриваються ракети навколо нашого села. Ми чуємо ці взриви.
Around the village, and we can hear them from our location.
Що буде завтра, післязавтра, ми не знаємо.
What's going to happen tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, we have no idea.
Господи, поможи.
Lord, please help us.
І тут дзвінок.
And then I receive a phone call right away.
Дзвонить людина, яку я ніколи не знав
A
раніше.
person that I've never met before calls me
І каже, я
and
чув
says,
про те, що ви хочете евакуювати дітей.
I heard that you wanted to evacuate children.
Якщо через 3 години ви будете готові, я ваших дітей
If
вивезу до
you're ready,
кордону.
in 3 hours, I will take your children to the border of Ukraine.
Ми сказали, ми вже
So
готові.
we're ready.
Він приїхав.
He came.
Мало того, він домовився з
More than that,
поліцією,
he made
щоб вона
arrangements with the police
супроводжувала нас.
so that the police could escort us.
Вся дорога від Києва до
Because the
кордону
road from Kiev to the border of
стояла.
Ukraine was still, it was traffic, it was backed up.
І цю дорогу мали бомбити.
And this road this highway was supposed to, there were plans to ruin it or to bomb it.
І поліція вивела нас на
And so the
зустрічну
police
полосу.
actually escorted us, and we were driving on a one-way street. I don't know if that makes sense.
І ми дуже швидко доїхали
And
до
so
кордону.
it didn't take us this long to actually get to the border of
Це було
Ukraine.
Боже чудо.
And it was God's
Це
miracle.
були як ангели, які відкривали
They
нам
were like
дорогу.
angels. It was like angels guiding us and opening the road in front of us.
І коли ми зупинилися уже, ми нашим дітям з самого ранку
And from the very early in the morning,
попросили, дітки,
we asked our children,
ми не знаємо, коли ми будемо їхати.
we told them, we don't know when we're leaving.
Але для того, щоб ми ніде не зупинялися в туалет,
But
щоб
so that
нікого
we
не
don't stop
нудило,
along the way to go to the bathroom or so if, someone gets sick,
ми просимо вас
we
не
just
їсти
ask you to
нічого.
please don't eat anything.
І вони не їли
And so
свідомо.
they didn't. They consciously
Ми не знали, скільки це займе
refused
часу.
food because we didn't know how the process is going to take, how long it's going to take.
І от коли ми сіли в
And
автобуси,
so from the time we sat on the bus,
діти сиділи і молилися.
the children were sitting there and praying.
Навіть маленькі діти не плакали і
Even the little ones
не
were not
ворокузили.
crying or being naughty.
Ми навчили дітей, якщо почнеться
We
бомбьошка,
taught the children that if you
як
hear
вибігати на вулицю
if you hear strikes and missiles, we taught them how to
з
exit the
автобуса,
bus,
як ховати
how to
голову,
hide your head,
як зберігати
how to
мовчання
keep quiet,
і кричати тільки тоді,
and to
коли поранені.
scream only if they're injured,
І як допомагати тим, хто
and how
поранений.
to help those who've been injured next to them.
І коли ми від'їхали 3,5 години від
And
Києва,
so when we were 3.5 hours away from Kyiv,
і ми думали, що це вже
we-
мирна частина
and we
України,
thought it was the peaceful part of Ukraine at that point,
ми вирішили, що ми дітей зводимо в туалет
we
на
decided that
заправку.
we will take the children to go to the bathroom at one of the gas stations.
І тільки ми вийшли до
And as soon
заправки,
as we got out of the bus,
і тут знов стали навколо нас взриви.
we started hearing strikes one after another around us.
Треба належати нашим оцим ангелам
And I have to
поліцейським,
seriously give so much honor and respect to those angels, to those police officers who were with us,
які
escorting us.
накривали так собою наших дітей і виводили із заправки їх назад до
They
автобусів.
were hiding our children with their bodies, protecting them all the way to the gas station and back from the gas station to the bus.
Вони включили мигаючі вогні,
They turned on their sirens, their signals.
сказали, щоб ми виключили свої
They
вогні,
told us
не
to-
дивлячись на це, що це ніч.
Even though it was nighttime, they told us to turn the lights off in our cars,
І ми
in the buses
на
that we
всій
were taking.
швидкості втікали
And they were
із
the ones
міста.
who were attracting all the attention on them.
І
And
оцими
so,
вогнями вони, по-перше, нам
and so
показували,
with the
як за ними
lights, they were
їхати,
showing us which way to go.
а по-друге, вони на себе викликали вогонь.
And they were the ones who were, if there was anything thrown at us, it would be thrown at them because they had the lights.
І коли ми приїхали в Польщу,
And when we arrived to Poland,
це було перше мирне
it
місто
was
за
it was
кордоном.
the first peaceful city in the foreign country.
І над нами пролетів реактивний літак.
And we saw a активний літак.
Істребитель.
The fighter jet.
Thank you. Yes, above us, flying above us.
Ви бачили, як діти всі попадали на
And
землю,
you should have seen all
Так,
those
як ми їх
children,
вчили.
just as we taught them. They laid on the ground with their heads covered,
і потім ми ще їхали через всю Польщу і майже всю
and
Німеччину.
then when we drove across Poland and across Germany,
І ми дітям давали їсти вже в
and we would give
автобусі,
children something to eat because it was okay to eat at
але
that
вони
point. They
відмовлялися.
did not, or they were not hungry.
Вони почали їсти тільки
They
вже коли ми
started
прибули у Фрайбург.
Only when we arrived to Freiburg, where we currently live.
Багато хто з дітей через стрес, який вони отримали, стали вписуватись вночі.
A lot of the children that received all this stress during the road and during the evacuation, they started
НРС.
urinating at night.
Какуватись. При якомусь
When they hear a loud noise,
і вони
some of the children that would hear a loud noise here in a peaceful place, they could they could wet themselves or go to number 2 in just out of nowhere because they're scared.
Але зараз, слава Богу,
But we
ми
thank the Lord because
мирі і
right now
спокої.
we are
І
living
бачимо,
in
як
a
діти
peaceful land,
реабілітуються.
and we can watch the children rehabilitate with time.
Ми з дітьми ходимо кожен практично день перебирати речі, які приносять люди сюди для України.
And almost every day,
Сортувати.
the children and I, we go together to places where local people bring humanitarian aid and clothes and all the goods and food, and those trucks are being sent to Ukraine as humanitarian aid.
І 2 рази на тиждень
And twice a week
загружаємо
we load
великі
big
вантажівки
trucks.
і таким чином ми
And
причетні
that
разом з
way,
дітьми
together with the children,
до України
we are
і вносимо свою лепту в те, щоб рятувати людей і
participating
приближувати перемогу.
and we are joining all the people that are still back home in Ukraine, and we want to help.
А зараз ми з дітьми стали збирати гроші для того, щоб купляти амуніцію 4 солдатам, які з
And
Святопетрівської йдуть
we
на
want to
фронт.
start fundraising together with the children to equip four young men from our village, from where Father's house is, who are going to fight in the eastern of Ukraine in 2 weeks, and we really want to help them. They addressed Father's house and they said, if you can help us with some armor, with some bulletproof vests and some what are they called?
Helmets.
The helmets, thank you, and all the other body armor equipment that they would need. And so we want to participate together with the children and teach children, and we want them to be a part of it as well.
І ми робимо різні
And so
порібки.
we are going to start making some handmade, some crafty things with the children, and maybe they could sell this online or yeah.
That's amazing. It's amazing you guys are able to do such a work there. Man, we're praying with you guys about these kids. A new building, you're looking to a new space, right? Trying to move to a more comfortable space.
Молимося за вас, за ваше перебування. Я знаю, ви шукаєте молитися за якусь нову будівлю, в яку ви можете переїхати.
Yeah, well, actually, why don't you tell us what are ways people can be praying for you, getting involved, helping with where you're at?
Розкажіть, можливо, як люди, які зацікавляться, як вони можуть допомагати, як вони можуть молитися, за що їм молитися, і як вони можуть долучатися до вашого служіння?
Ну, номер 1 – це, що Бог дав нам найкращі місця, де ми зможемо не стільки там комфортно жити, скільки реалізувати той потенціал, який у нас є, щоб допомогти дітям.
Number 1 is for the Lord to provide us with new living accommodations, and not so much for comfort. That's not what we're longing for. That's not what we're looking for, but enough space where we can realize the potential of our ministry and serve in the fullest to our children.
Номер 2, щоб Бог зцілював серця дітей.
For God to heal the hearts of the children.
І щоб ці діти пізнавали Бога.
And for those children to get to know the Lord.
І щоб вони теж могли реалізовувати свої дари, таланти.
And so they could also recognize their potential, their talents and their gifts and realize them by serving others, serving each other.
Ми тут пробуємо відродити нашу театротерапію, соло-музикальну терапію.
And we try to recreate some of the things that we've been having back home with the children as a part of therapy. And we've restored our theater, our music singing group, where people through the art, where children are able to.
До речі, ми йому пошлємо гімн України, який діти 8 років назад поставили. І він як пророчий.
Наші діти гімн України поставили, співали, поставили.
Пошлю тобі, да.
Okay, we'll follow up with the video. We'll send you a video where our children 8 years ago, it was like a prophetic, they performed the hymn of Ukraine, and so we'll send that to you. I think it's a very special thing that.
Зараз ми хочемо подібні відеоролики робити на підтримку наших і земляків, і солдатів.
So we want to make similar videos now, because that was 8 years ago that we just kind of, we had a flashback, but we want to create videos like that so that we could support, the people that are back home, our landmates and.
А долучитися, в принципі, коли ми здобудемо вже своє більш стабільне місце, де ми не будемо від імміграційної служби залежати, хто захоче, може приїхати і побути волонтером разом з нами, або не може приїхати, зробити пожертвування через послів Отчого дому. Ми будемо дуже вдячні за це.
And ways you can help or get involved is once we get settled in a new place and we're not so much what's that word? Залежні. Dependent. We're not so much dependent on the immigration services as we are now. And once we have more freedom with what we can do, we will be so happy to invite people to come and volunteer and help us with the children. Or if someone wants to, do that but is not able to, then there are ways to give through Ambassadors of Father's House that is registered in the United States.
And how would people find that ways to give or learn more?
Як дізнатися про шляхи, як можна допомогти?
Facebook
We have a Facebook page. There's an Очі Дім Father's House Facebook page. There's a link to Ambassadors of Father's House Facebook page. We have Instagram where we update the feed from the daily life here. And then also on our website, it's a-fh.org. You can donate, you can see ways to give, you can subscribe, and you can receive our newsletters and updates on what's happening in Ukraine and in Germany and what's the situation. Yeah.
Well, we love you guys. We believe in you. We're so glad our paths met last fall, and we were going to be doing hosting together this summer, but
Yes.
all of those plans are obviously different, but maybe we'll be doing a camp with you guys or doing something with you this summer.
Yes.
And if you're listening, you guys share this story so that this word can get out. And we support you guys 100%. Love you guys. And thank you for your time. God bless you guys. Thanks so much.
God bless you.
Привет, как дела? That's awesome. All right. God bless you guys.
God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you very much.